So, as you might have noticed, that our podcasts have been a bit sporadic the last few weeks, but there is a reason behind it, and all will be revealed in the next week or two. We'll be back doing business, and you'll figure out why there's been a bit of a break in between podcasts. But we will be back rolling in 2 weeks, probably. I want to say 2 weeks. But this podcast is, I say podcast. This is a video that is going to take ye through our thoughts on our favorite horses, our least favorite horse, the most overrated, questions on that kind of spectrum. So myself, Dave, and Sean are going to be doing this. Tom is busy with spreadsheets and all that jazz, so he can't do it this time. But myself, Dave, and Sean are going to take you through all them kind of questions. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Oh, kicking off a favorite horse. I have a few that I hold close to my heart. Faughines, Size in John, Size in Europe, horses like that. I think we all know who my favorite horse of all time, and that is the queen of horse racing, and that's Honeysuckle.
No, my favorite horse is in training right now is Facile Vega. For obvious reasons, I think he's class. I think he's going to be a better chaser than he was a hurdler. And he just looks the real deal. And my favorite all time, it would be a toss up between Denman and Big Bucks, but I have to say Big Bucks just because he was a bit of a lunatic, and his 4 stayers hurdles live long in the memory.
And my favourite horse in training would have to be this guy over my shoulder, Constitution Hill. I think he's just unreal. I don't think he's quite got the credit that he deserves so far. He's been asked, who's he beaten? What's he done? He's winning champion hurdles. He's unbeaten and he's exceptional. I think he'll go on to be the track record of 3 if he stays in one piece. I don't see anything beating him.
Favorite track? I'm going to give 2, and they probably are as obvious as the day is long. I'm going to give 1 in the UK, which is obviously Cheltenham. First time myself, Dave, Putty came as well. We went over to Cheltenham once lockdown was lifted, and went to the November meeting, and that walk across the rail track up to Cheltenham, it just takes your breath away if you've never been there before, if it's your first time. And then you go inside, it's everything and more that you expected. It lives up to the hype, the expectations. Cheltenham by a country mile. I've been to Sandown. I've been to a few other I've been to Plumpton. Where else I've been? I've been to a few in the UK, but Cheltenham is by and far the greatest venue spectacle that you will see for horse racing. Over in Ireland, Leopardstown, I think it's one of the best tracks in the UK and Ireland. It's a fair track, galloping track. The best horses usually win. And what they do for the Dublin Racing Festival is second to none. 2 days, 8 grade ones. It's just top-class racing, top-class facilities, and just top-class crowd. The atmosphere at the Dublin Race Festival is... It's hard to beat, even though there's 15,000, 16,000 watt of holes. But yeah, Cheltenham in the UK and Leopardstown in Ireland.
Favorite track? Cheltenham and Leopardstown. I give you 1 in England and 1 in Ireland.
My favourite track would have to be Cheltenham. The buzz of this place is unreal. I remember the first time I walked in at the bottom of the hill, and you look up and it's just a pinch myself moment. The scenery in the background, it's just phenomenal. Anyone that's not been there, I highly recommend booking the flights and getting there this season.
Race. It's hard not to pick the Supreme Novice Hurdle, just due to the fact the whole build up to Cheltenham. We're talking about it now. Jesus, we're talking about the Saturday after Cheltenham, when the whole build up to the Tuesday at Cheltenham, you're going into the bookies, you're making sure you have your bets done, you're in the pub, you have that whole 2-hour build up before the race starts, the nerves start kicking in. It's just the Cheltenham Roar, first day, first race. It's hard to beat, and that just revolves around the Supreme Novice Hurdle. So, yeah, favorite race is the Supreme Novice Hurdle.
Oh, my favorite race. I really like the Gold Cup. I really like the Champion Hurdle. I really like the RSA or whatever it's called now. I think it's a good test of the novices. But my favorite race is probably the Supreme Novices, the first race of the festival. It's just the build up to Cheltenham the build up of that morning when you're in the pub waiting, or if you're at the track waiting, and then bang, it kicks off. And there's nothing worse than a bad Supreme Novices. It just feels bad.
My favourite race would probably be the Champion Chase. I think 2 mile chasers going lickety split, jumping fences is a spectacle to see. I think horses like Sprinter Sacra just remind you of that.
Least favourite race. There's one that's had to change in my mind. I think it's the same for Dave, really, in the last few years. The Hennessy, the Ladbroke, the Carl Cup, whatever it's called these days. The quality that have run in this the last few years has dropped drastically. I used to love it. The likes of Denman, Smart Place, Bobsworth. Jeez, they used to be an unbelievable race. Now it's just gone very poor standard. It's had to drop in a lot. I'd say my least favourite race now of a high quality race would be the Hennessy.
My least favourite race is the Tolworth Hurdle. Hopefully it'll be better this year. I think it's been moved to Aintree on a new meeting, I think, around Christmas, when the Christmas racing is on, so it should be better. Maybe some of the Irish horses will go over. But the last while it's been terrible.
My least favourite race would definitely be Veteran Chases. I hate these races for a passion. They'd be X'd off every single race card if I could. I think the horses that have been there and done it and their time is probably gone, but they're still about, I'd let them off to the field and enjoy retirement.
Flat or jumps? Jumps every day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Kilbeggan, Ballinrobe, Tramore, Cork, Plumpton, Margarazin, Ayr, anywhere. Take jumps over flat any day of the week.
Jumps.
Jumps or flat? It'd definitely be jumps for me. I would have an interest in the flat, but not as much as the jumps. I'd be totally invested in the jumps, and it's no comparison there for me.
Oh, KAUTO or DENMAN. If we're talking head over heart, your head is telling you, well, it's not even head, it's everything that tells you that KAUTO was the better horse. But geez, you can't not but love the tank. The way he races, the way he gallops. As I can't remember, was it Richard Hiles who somebody said in the Gold Cup, relentless, remorseless. His name is Denman. He's galloping them into submission. He's just a horse that you just love. The way he goes about his business, the races he's after running in, his heart problem coming back, after being placed in every Gold Cup at Cheltenham that he is running. He's a phenomenal horse. This is heart over head moment. I gotta go with Denman.
Denman.
KAUTO Star or Denman? It'd be KAUTO Star for me. I think it's class to be able to do it over 2 miles, up to 3 miles. He was just unreal. What a generation that was.
Chase, look, yes, the Supreme Novice Hurdle is my favourite race, but as a kind of discipline in National Hunt racing, I would have to go with jumps. From 2 mile chasers to the Gold Cup to the Grand National, I just love how these horses attack their fences, how they soar over them, like the likes of the Size in Europe, Sprinter Sacra, Under Sows, Galloping the Champ. Any horse that meets a fence spot on just soars over them. I just love how they do it. Yeah, I think chases as a discipline, I got to go with chases.
Chases. Going back to KAUTO or Denman, I think KAUTO is the better horse, but the type of horse I like, Denman, was the perfect example of that. Could go from the front, big, burly, jumped well, very much put horses out of their comfort zone, whereas KAUTO is more just flashy, travel on the bridle and did everything with ease.
Hurdles or chases? As I touched on, it'd be chases for me. I think Champion Chases and then all the way up to Gold Cups. You don't beat them for me. I think the chases is definitely the one.
Pub or on course? A bit of both, if I'm honest. Like for the Dublin Racing Festival, we always go to the course. For November meeting at Cheltenham, we always go to the course. For Toy Estes and all that, we go to the course. But if you're talking in regards to, say, like, we always go to Alfie's for the first meeting at Cheltenham, for the October meeting, which is coincides with the 2-year-old trophy, and which this year coincides with the Rugby World Cup final. So in that regards, we'll go to the pub for them and for on-course atmosphere and all that. It would be Dublin Racing Festival, November meeting at Cheltenham. I don't think I could go to Cheltenham for the festival. I just don't think I'd have the patience for 68, 70,000 people queuing for this and that, waiting half the year to go to the toilet or whatever for a pint. No, it would be also pub for the Cheltenham Festival.
If it's Cheltenham or Leopardstown on course, any other one, I'd say pub.
Pub or on course? I think on course. I don't think there's a better buzz than being around your friends, having a few quid on a horse and them coming over the last and you giving it the full shenanigans. I think it's a great buzz. So definitely on course for me.
Favorite racing moment happened a few months back. I don't think it'll come to anyone's surprise. That'll be, see this one here, bit of honeysuckle. Get your pins from Horse Racing Pins as well. Little plug from. It's a nice one. We have more. Look, there's Vasai Vega. They have loads. HorseRacingPins.com. Get on it. But yeah, honeysuckle. Winning the Mayor's Hurdle on a final start after everything that happened in the build-up. She got beat at the Irish Champion Hurdle. Everything that happened with Henry, with Jack, and then the whole reception she got on the way back in. Everyone knows I've loved her from our day one from a maiden. I've always touted her as a special horse, and thankfully she turned out to be one. And to go out like that, and look, we were in the pub, and you could even feel the emotion coming through the screen. Look, it got me at one stage, and it will always live in my memory the day Honeysuckle retired as a winner at the Cheltenham Festival. Unbeaten at Cheltenham. What a mare, what a horse, what a story.
Favorite racing moment is DENMAN and KAUTO's Gold Cup is up there. Some of the Grand Nationals were great as well. I backed Neptune Cologne, so that was a good moment. But probably when one of my favourites is when Rock on Ruby bet Hurricane Fly in Champion Hurdle. I was full sure Hurricane Fly got bet, and I was right.
Favourite racing moment would probably be for him winning the novice chase at the Dublin Racing Festival. That was a special moment on track. You could just feel it in the crowds. It was phenomenal.
Most overrated horse. I'm not going to give one in training as of yet because I want to see what they do. But one from past, I will have to go with Lord Windermere. I just don't know how Davy Russell fathomed the strength, the patience to get this thing to win an RSA, let alone a Gold Cup. Yes, you're probably going to say, what the hell are you on about? He's had to win an RSA and Gold Cup. I just don't like the horse. I think he's so overrated for what he's won a Gold Cup. Yes, wow. Not wow, but I just don't like him, all right? Lord Windermere is overrated.
Way back when, Lord Windermere, useless. I don't care what he won. Right now, recent, present, Bob Ollinger.
Most overrated horse. For me, it actually comes last season. I think Blazing Cal. I didn't buy into this at all. I thought his novice form wasn't the best, and then he was backed in from early on to favourite for the Stayers Hurdle. I didn't buy it at all. I think he's a class below that.
Most underrated horse. This is one I didn't. I said I'd wait now and think about it when it comes to actually recording this part, and for some reason I want to say Quavega. I know she only turned up. She turned up twice every year. She wins the Mayors and she wins the Stayers at Punchestown. For some reason, I still don't think she gets the credit she deserves. Like, she's, was it 5-6 times she had to win the Cheltenham Festival? She's won the Stayers 2 or 3 times at Punchestown. I think she's a phenomenal horse. I think she came in the generation where it wasn't sexy to have a mare and they were only trying to start building the mayor's program. And I think if it wasn't for Quavega and what she done, I don't think the mayor's program would be what it is today. So I'm going to have to say Quavega is very, very underrated. And plus, she's at there producing Vasai Vega. What more do you want? Yeah, Quavega, underrated.
Won good races, but I don't think Ante-Post gets enough credit for as good as she was. I think with the mares that came after her, they kind of overshadowed her, but she had quite a short racing career. Champion hurdle beat by outstayed, I suppose, in the stairs hurdle. She is very, very good. There's probably loads of others. Madison de Burley, I think, was underrated back in the day. He was around when KAUTO and DENMAN were around, and he won a Hennessy and he beat DENMAN a couple of times. He's a good horse.
The most underrated horse. This is a bit of a sticky one for me. I'd go for Stateman. I don't think he's quite got the credit he deserves. He's being beaten by only Constitution Hill. He's 4 from 4 for the rest of the season. I don't think he quite gets the credit because he would have won a champion hurdle 9 out of 10 years and possibly gone on to 1, 2 or 3 if Constitution Hill wasn't around. So definitely be Stateman for me.
It's a guilty pleasure. I do love a cross-country chase. Something about him, something about the madness, the twisting and turning, the ditches, the cheese wedges, the water jumps, the barrel jumps, bloody anything they can jump. I just love him. I just think it's 10 minutes of absolute pleasure. Yeah, cross-country chases. I think we should have more.
Drinking Guinness out of a plastic glass. It's tremendous.
A guilty pleasure of mine would definitely be the handicap horses. That nag that you pick out in the early season that you're convinced is going to win, and no matter what, you just have your 5 or your 10 on him every time he runs, but he lets you down. It's the hope that kills. If he wins today and I don't have any money on, it's a terrible feeling. So that's definitely my guilty pleasure.
Greatest trainer of all time. This is not going to take long. Flat, Willie Mullins, jumps, Aidan O'Brien. 2 of the best we'll ever see and probably will ever see. Greatest trainers of all time, flat and jump.
Willie Mullins.
The greatest trainer of all time, goes without saying, it's definitely Willie Mullins. Season after season, he just churns out these Grade 1 winners. They just keep coming through. He's class.
Greatest jockey. Generational wise, I think that the crop of Ruby, Barry, AP, Dickie Johnson, Davy, I think that's the best crop we will see in a long, long time. Look, there's young lads coming up this generation, like Sean Bowen. I think he's massively underrated in the UK. Harry Cobden is top class. You've Paul Townley and you've Rachel, but I think the all-time great, I think it has to go down to Ruby Walsh. Look, what he does on the big days, just about what you put him on, he can go from the front, middle, behind. He can read a race so well. Big days don't phase him. Falling on the last off any power doesn't phase him. He gets up the next day and he goes off and rides more winners. Look, it's his mentality, his stubbornness, his will to win, I think just makes him the greatest of all time. I think it's closely followed by AP, Barry and Davy. But overall, Ruby Walsh.
AP McCoy.
The greatest jockey would be Ruby for me. Ruby was different class, no matter where, no matter when. The big days, the small days, the handicaps, off the front, from behind. I think Ruby Walsh was just quality.
Wine, 2 of my favourites. But Jesus, it's hard to beat a good pint of Guinness, be it in the pub, be it on a race course where logic dictates that a pint of Guinness in a plastic cup should not taste good at all, but for some reason it tastes really good. So I'm going to have to go with Guinness.
Guinness right now would be lovely.
Guinness or wine, I don't know if many people know, I'm actually a teetotal, so the drink for me would actually be a Fanta Lemon. That's my little treat.
Popular opinion about horse racing. It kind of revolves around festivals in general. I think festivals should be capped to 4 days. I think the general public lose interest. I think attendance drop. Yes, the owners and trainers would have their day in the sun per se. Be it summer festivals, be it winter festivals. You don't see many winter festivals go past 4 days. Cheltenham Festival, off the top of my head, is the only one that has 4 days. That's a jumps meeting. If like a Goodwood, Jesus Christ, you have Galway. They all go over 4 days. Yeah, I think they should be capped to 4 days because to me, you just lose interest.
I don't know if it's unpopular, but Johnny Ward is fucking useless. And some of the people that are getting paid to be on tracks, and they're absolutely atrocious. So it's probably not unpopular. I'd say some people will agree with me.
So what is your unpopular opinion about horse racing? I think around Cheltenham, the costing of Cheltenham has gone absolutely horrific in recent years. The pricing are up this year. It's £110 for 1 day ticket to the Cheltenham Festival. Now that's colossal. There's no need for this at all. I think it's pushing people away from the sport. It's ruining the experience of going to Cheltenham. The costs are so high and there's no need at all. Like you see over here, the Dublin Racing Festival, top class racing, top class horses, 2 day ticket is €50. I think there's no need for Cheltenham to be driving these prices so high. And even when you're there, the cost of everything is pushed up so high that it's just wickedly expensive and there's no need for it at all. I think it's going to push people away. The attendances, I wouldn't be surprised if they start dropping, and it's just bad. It's bad for the sport. I think they shouldn't be doing this. I think the prices should be brought back down to a reasonable level, and it's just, there's no need at all. So it's definitely around the costing of Cheltenham.
It's a moment that haunts me. Yeah. Thinking about it right now, I still feel like crying. Champ, Chinnan, Indo in the RSA. Can I get over it? No. Will I ever get over it? No. What a stupid horse champ is. Fuck.
Oh, haunts me to this day. In the derby when Pourmois won and Barcelona gave it the celebration going over the line, I had Treasure Beach backed at like 50-1. I had actually a good bet for me on him. I think I had 12.50 each way on him at 50-1. He's second, beating on the line. Still, it actually hurts. And to be honest, the slip I had in Facile Vega for him to come second last year, and the slips the 2 years before on Fernie Hollow Ante-Post ones were, yeah, value though. Is that right, Tom?
I think Manila Indo being beaten in the Brown Advisory is definitely one. We were there that year. We had the winner of the Ballymore going on the Manila Indo, and it was heart-wrenching. You thought you were at the beaten Allaho, and then you heard the English roar, and you just look back and you see Champ coming, and your gut instinct knew that he was going to get there up the hill. It was a killer. So that's definitely a racing moment that haunts me.
Own a horse in training right now, who would it be? This lad. I have all the horses and pins in front of me, so I'm doing this. Bear with me. The Black Dragon, Galloping the Champ. Love this horse. He's just an epitome of the closest thing. I said it loads of times and I get ridiculed and I don't care. He's the closest thing we will see to kind of Court or Star in regards to, if you run him over 2 miles, he'll win over 2 miles. You run him over 2.5, he'll win over 2.5. You run him over 3 miles, he'll win the Gold Cup, he'll win it. I think he is a phenomenal horse. I think he has endless bags of ability. People say, "Oh, he got beat by Fast or Slow at the Punchestown Festival." Court or Star got beat at the Punchestown Festival. DENMAN got beat at the Punchestown Festival. That's what it takes out of you to win a Gold Cup. But I would love to own Galloping the Champs.
Facile Vega.
It goes without saying, this fella Constitution Hill, what I'd do to have a piece of him, even a small 1% share in him, I'd do anything.
Oh, sure, I said Lord Windermere. Yeah, Lord Windermere. He was terrible. He won a dog shit RSA, and then don't know how we won the Gold Cup that year. But you look at the horse in that year in that race, it was like a Tasties chase. That's what he won. It's pretty much that's all it was. Like Conti was in it, didn't stay, and didn't act around Cheltenham. And he was about the best horse. Maybe Bosworth was there, but he was gone past it at that stage.
I'm a young lad. I'd say I'm going to keep it recent and probably Samcro for me. I think the heights that everyone thought he was going to reach after his novice hurdle campaign, the sky was the limit, and he just disappointed when he went into Open Hurdle Company. But then he did come back, he won his novice chase, but then again when he stepped there into Open Company, he was just wickedly disappointed for me. I thought he was going to go to the heights of a top class horse.
Two horses from any generation. I suppose now that she's retired, Honeysuckle, I can take her. Who else I'd like to own? I'm looking at colours here now, and I'm thinking Richie colours, Faugheen. Jesus, I'd love to own Faugheen. And then I'm looking at a picture over there, Denman. Jesus, I'd love to own Denman. Christ, who would it be? I'm taking three, the hell with it. Honeysuckle, Faugheen, and Denman. Yeah, they're the three.
I'd have loved to own Big Bucks, my favourite horse, so. And in his prime, I think Mastermind was as good as any of the 2 mile chasers that have come after, that have been like lauded, like On the Sow and Sprinter Sacra, and I suppose Size in Europe is very good as well. The performances of Masterminded when he came out of the woodwork from France and that 5-year-old, 6-year-old season are the best 2 mile chases ever, I think.
Well, number one chaser would definitely be Sprinter Sacra. He was just unbelievable. He was a spectacle to watch. And then he went away, had the heart issue. He came back, and then he went on to win again. He was just class. And then a horse that touches the heartstrings, definitely the second one would be Faugheen. I just loved him. He really, really, really loved him. From 2 mile champion hurdles up to 3 mile Punchestown Stairs hurdles. And then he had a spell late on going chasing. He was just unreal.
I think it'll be the flop of the 24 season. I believe, hand on heart, Te-Hoopo. We're talking about graded horses, good horses. I don't think he'll scale the heights that everyone thinks he's going to scale. I think he's had a very hard season last year, and I think it might leave a mark. He's a very young horse, and it'll take a big mentality to get over that. Look, I say this many times, and I say it many times going forward. Horses go through that pain threshold where it gets really tough for them. They find it very hard to go back there, and it's happened year after year after year. And I think for being such a young horse, he's had having hard races this season. He's had the Galmoy on bottomless ground. And people will say, oh, he won that easy. Oh, yeah, I was up there, and this horse hit that line. And once he hit that line, it looked like he's at the brick wall because he stopped to a walk straight away. I like when horses take not a long way to pull up, but just don't stop to a walk straight away after the line. He stopped to a walk straight away after the line. He had another hard race in the Stairs hurdle at Cheltenham. And if he was going to be the horse that everyone expects and that he was going to be, look, yes, granted, he probably will improve a bit this season. He should be beating Sarah de Burley. I know Sarah de Burley went on to win at Aintree again, but if we're being very realistic about this, and if people think Te-Hoopo is going to be what Gordon thinks Te-Hoopo is going to be, or should be right now, he should be beating Sarah de Burley. So I think Te-Hoopo will be the flop of the 23-24 season.
Shishkin. I don't think he'll win the King George, and I don't think he'll win the Gold Cup. I think his whole season is geared around and I actually like Shishkin. I backed him a couple of times last year, but too many errors, jumping errors, too many mistakes, and all the English will probably jump on the hype train for him for the Gold Cup. And the King George, I don't think he'll win the King George. I think Brave Man's Game will probably win it again. I don't think Shishkin will travel well enough to win it. And then I wouldn't see him win the Gold Cup either. He'll probably win a race along the way. The way Nicky campaigns him an easier race, and Nicky's record with 3 mile chasers is just not that good. Bob's Worth was very good, but otherwise he's just had ones pulled up all the time and all that. So yeah, I think Shishkin will be a flop this year.
For me, I think this is going to be John Bon. The bubble was burst for me at Cheltenham. I think El Fabiola bashed him that day, But then there's talks of 2 miles, then they're trying to step him up. I think they're excuses. I see him at the top of the Ryanair market. I think he's joint favourite. I couldn't be having that at all now. I think he could be a massive flop and he won't reach the heights that they expected.
Outsider, an Ante-Post outsider for 24 Festival. It's the horse I was going to keep for a horse to follow, which I probably will still keep for the horses to follow. But I'll go into more depth in that video. But it's In the Pocket, trained by Henry de Bromhead. I think he's coming into this season underrated, kind of not forgotten about, but he's not a sexy horse per se. But I think once he gets to a fence, I think there will be a jolt of improvement again. Yes, granted, he's a Grade 1 winner already. But I think a fence and a trip will be the making of this horse. I love the way he was learning on the job. He's still raw. He's still got a lot of ability to tap into. So In the Pocket, Arcolar Turners, he will be my outsider for the 24 Festival.
Apple away at the RSA. What's it called now? Whatever it's called now. Brown Advisory, Novices Chase from the front. 33-1. You probably get 40-1 somewhere. Apple away won the Sefton Novices Hurdle last year.
And an outsider for the Ante-Post bet for 2024 at Cheltenham Festival. I'm going to take a little punt here, and it's going to be Factor Foil in the Brown Advisory. He's a 6-year-old. He'll be 7 come Cheltenham. I wonder will they skip novice hurdling around this season. I think A Dream to Share, he was beaten by twice, is a good horse. Then at the Dublin Racing Festival, Ferranelli was 7 lengths behind him that day. We've seen what he went on to do at the Punchestown Festival when he won the Grade 1 Novice Chase. He's a big scopy type. He'll definitely take to a fence. He's won his point to point. He stays 3 miles. I think, as an outsider, Factor Foil at 33-1 in the Brown Advisory Novice Chase is a decent bet.